And I'd like to start by asking to, we need to do roll call first, so. Okay. Looks as though we have 6 present and 1 absent. So we've got quorum, which is great. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We will, if you'd like, stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 4, special presentations and proclamations. We have none tonight. Number 5, oral communications. I'm told we have 3 speakers.
Yes. For oral communications, we have 3 speakers. The first speaker is David Pearl. So David, you may come up to the lectern. And you have 3 minutes to address the commission.
Is it on?
There you go.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
David Pearl. My family moved here in 1972. I went to Oak Crest and San Diego, where I met Mr. Soto, who turned me on to ceramics. And because I didn't enjoy high school so much, I could hide in the ceramic room and make ceramic work. I went to college, thought of other things, and gravitated back to ceramics. Right now, I find myself scrambling. If I had a ceramic class at the Art Center, where would I get the work fired? I live way below the poverty level. I teach at the community colleges, on and off. So that's just kind of an overview. I love ceramics. It's kind of like that infamous line, if you build it, they will come. Every time I teach it, classes are full. People thoroughly enjoy it. I enjoy teaching it. So I've been in it maybe 40 years. Taught for 14 years up at the State Center Community College District in Fresno, where I was born. So I just wanted to enlighten you to that. I am scrambling, realizing now that I couldn't even offer a class this summer. I looked over the schedule, but maybe somebody somewhere, someplace I would purchase kiln time and schlep the work over there, which is always a bad idea because it's green and it breaks very, very easily. But I'm familiar with it, so I would do that so that I could get it started there. It's a fantastic medium. I guess the only other thing I'll just say is that you build it, you glaze it, nothing destroys it, except for if you drop it and break it. It doesn't erode with time. It's what we study when we look at past civilizations and what was important to them. So I have an MFA in ceramics from Arizona State. That's where I finally ended up. Wanted to study there with the 3 professors who were there at the time. Here I am now in Olivenhain, and I work at a place called Veterans Art Project in Vista, California, where I teach veterans acclimating back to civilian life, the medium of ceramics. As most teaching positions, it really doesn't support living in this area, so I live on a shoestring. I see 15 seconds left. David Pearl. I came in the beginning of the meetings. I think it was a really wise, forward-thinking choice that the city purchased the property to have an art center. I fully believe in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pearl. I know this is not meant to be a discussion period, but I know that this came up, the possibility of a kiln. I don't know if that's anything that we can provide information on. Probably, sorry, not in this forum, or, yeah, okay. Okay, well, we appreciate that, viewpoint and certainly take it to heart. And I think you can look for more in the future.
Mr. Chair, even though we can't discuss this issue, but staff will connect with Mr. Pearl at the end.
Okay.
Provide him some more information.
Fantastic, thank you. Great, okay.
The next speaker is Jamie Edmonds. And as a reminder, you have 3 minutes to address the commission.
Yeah, that was pretty clear. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Jamie Edmonds. I'm with Transition Labyrinth. You may or may not be aware that one of your local residents, Kirk Van Allen, goes by Kirkos, has done a labyrinth on the beach here in Encinitas every New Year's Day for about 20 years now. I first ran into him 10 years ago, and that kind of lit my candle for becoming a labyrinth artist. Unfortunately, his physical and mental health has been deteriorating in the last few years. When I saw him last year, I don't live up here, by the way, I live down in San Diego, but I've been helping him out for the last couple of years as his health is deteriorating. And unfortunately, the tides this year are not going to give you any beach at all to draw on. And in past, there's been over 100 people that have shown up on New Year's Day without even advertising it because he couldn't get a permit. So he would just show up in random places on the beach and draw a labyrinth, and people would show up and decorate it with colored salt crystals and shells and feathers and all kinds of cool stuff. And it just really inspired me as that community that he created through his art that was shared with the community here. And when I saw the tides and his deterioration, I got kind of sad. And I want to offer, if there's any interest, a community labyrinth on New Year's Day. Not on the beach, obviously. But I've been doing them all over the county. Actually, I've done them up in Esalen. I've done them at Findhorn in Scotland. I've done all kinds of temporary ones. One for the World Labyrinth Day, which is the first Saturday in May, where everybody in the world walks a labyrinth in their time zone at 1 o'clock. It's a global 24-hour rotating prayer for peace. It's a really beautiful thing. At the county admin building down there on PCH, across from Star of India with the rangers there. Big chalk paint labyrinth on the grass. It only lasts for a week or so, or till the next mowing. But you know, I had hundreds of people out for that event too. Never done it on New Year's Day other than on the beaches. I do them on the beaches down in San Diego. And they're always well received. The kids can't resist a labyrinth. It's like a hopscotch. And it's part of our shared humanity. Labyrinths are meditation or prayer paths. And walking prayer, walking meditation is part of a lot of different spiritual traditions all over the world. They're thousands of years old. They don't carry any dogma or any particular baggage with them. You can use them for whatever. People play games on them, or they meditate or pray while they walk. It's unlike a maze, it's just a single path. So it's kind of centering, helps to kind of quiet the mind. I offer all of my labyrinth consulting in the gift. So if there is any interest, you have my contact info from the speaker slip. I'd be happy to pursue it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And again, even though our rules don't, our procedures don't permit kind of a back and forth, we appreciate your passion on this and certainly take that under advisement. I've seen some of those amazing beach labyrinths, really very, very cool, striking, and yeah, just amazing kind of creation. So thank you again.
The final speaker tonight is Judy Selinsky. You have 3 minutes to address the commission.
This is a bronze stingray. Has anyone gone to the beach and gotten stung by a stingray?
3 times.
Okay. I believe there's a need to create a awareness sculpture in our area down at one of our beaches, preferably Moonlight, a safety awareness to express the beauty, but the awareness of these beautiful creatures. I'm excited to propose a public art safety sculpture of the stingray. The sculpture will be made of bronze and will feature an educational relief poem at the visual height perfect for children to read and learn about the stingray shuffle. As a creator of this idea, I've designed a unique marquette that represents to the Art Commission the design and layout of a relief sculpture. I've been doing bronze for 10 years, and I've also done public art pieces in downtown San Diego, so I'm very familiar with all the back stuff that goes into doing a public art piece. I work with the big new foundry in Los Angeles that does all the engineering for presenting something in a place. And that's about it. And I passed out a handout. I was just written up in a magazine, so in your free time you can look at it and see that I'm not a flaky artist. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
Yeah, we aren't in this format. We're not really allowed to do a back and forth question and answer with you.
all
It's
right,
just,
then.
yeah, we're
Nice to
just
meet you
limited by the
then.
rules. But
Thank you.
thank you. I could have probably used that reminder myself a few times
Yes.
about stingrays. But yeah, again, we will certainly take that under advisement and appreciate the idea and the information. Very cool.
So just so you know about a relief sculpture is one that goes onto a wall rather than a three-dimensional. So relief sculpture would be up against the wall, and then the kelp would be flowing around the sculpture with the poem so the children can read it. And when it's on the wall, it'll be safe for everyone and prevent vandalism.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you to all everybody who came to speak. We really appreciate the input. Genuinely grateful for that. And good to hear from you all. I think that's all for the public comment. With that, we're going to move on to number 6 on our agenda. Changes to the agenda. I don't believe there are.
Well, there's just
any.
one little minor thing. Just make a note of the spelling of my name as a S on the end, not a Z. Marakovits. Oh,
Where is that? Is it?
I was looking at the. Is there a section for our previous minutes? Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped ahead.
False alarm. Okay. All right. Okay, well, good. I think we can move on to number 7, the approval of the minutes. Unless did you have another question about that? Or?
Oh, that was, so, yeah, that's where the document I saw my misspelled name.
Oh, in the minutes?
In the minutes, yes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
All right. Well, now we're there. So, yeah, we can maybe get that addressed for next
I
time.
just had a quick question about just logistics. If one of the commissioners want to reach out to any one of the people that spoke, what is the process? Or oh, it's not working?
Oh, yours is working?
Oh, I'm loud. I can speak for the.
Yeah, I think you're on.
I'm
You might just
proud.
need to. You might need to get close.
So can any one of us just reach out? Is that okay? Like, how does that work?
You can
What is
reach
the-
out outside of it. If it's not agendized, it can't be discussed at the
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah, that's what I mean. But after the meeting.
Sure.
Wait, okay. Yeah, and how do we get their contact information?
It's on the speaker slips.
We
I can help you with that.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. I appreciate that. Okay, so number 7, approval of the minutes. And we're going to vote on that. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes, hopefully? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. Sorry, that's right. We need to make a motion. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Do we need to add the corrections for Jennifer's name, which I see it is misspelled a couple of places in the minutes?
It's a common error sometimes. It's
So I will
forgivable.
make a motion to amend a correction to the minutes with the spelling of Commissioner Marakovic's name, where as needed.
Okay. Do one of us need to make the motion?
Yeah,
To
but-
be official? Okay, yeah. Does it need to be 2 separate things to amend the minutes and then separately to approve them? I don't mean to get too into the weeds with the rules.
It's just
here.
the correction of the minutes, so that's just one motion. I
Okay.
think we need to make.
All right,
that's what-
so I guess the motion is to correct the spelling and approve the minutes.
I second the motion.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Let the record show that the motion passes unanimously, with the exception of Commissioner Vice Chair Fox, who is absent.
Okay, thank you for that. So number 8, action items. 8A is our annual work plan. There it is. And obviously these, we're pretty late in the year, so the ad hocs are pretty much spoken for, but we're going to go down and if anybody has any updates or discussion on any of these items, feel free to chime in.
I would like to speak to one.
Okay, please.
And normally I attend the Cultural Tourism Committee meetings, but I will be out of town, so I contacted James, who is the alternate, and he's going to attend. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, and I'm
So
planning to be
James
there.
will- James will attend, and there were a lot of, unfortunately, all of the things they talked about doing at the Cultural Tourism Committee on Thursday, a month ago, have happened with the tree lighting and the holiday parade and everything. But we had a very interesting conversation about marketing and bringing more marketing into the way the city manages itself. And I thought that was interesting. I have for years wanted to promote ourselves as a cultural and as an ecotourism destination because of our lagoons and our restored waterway and the Botanic Garden and our back trails and the beaches. We have a lot of very interesting ecological, and we're working well on all of our ecological efforts. So that's something I'd like to see promoted. So James, if it comes up on Tuesday or Thursday, would you stick up for me?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all for that idea. It makes a lot of sense, and so it's good to know, to have that on my radar when I'm there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on well, no, I guess you're the liaison, so we probably don't have anyone else on that. So we'll move on to number 2, research funding opportunities to support city arts programs and events. And I'm part of that ad hoc. It's been kind of a busy time with kind of figuring out our parade entry and all that stuff. So I don't have anything new to add at this time on that topic.
Yeah, number 2.
Yeah.
That one is, I think when we receive a little bit more direction for next year as when the center opens, and there's some more direction with that, we'll be able to maybe hone in on things more exactly. So that's where I'm
Okay.
at with that.
Okay. Yeah. It's probably the start of the new year. And Commissioner Kadaki, I didn't want to leave you out in case I think you're on that ad hoc. Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry? Yep, I'm good. Okay, excellent. Thank you. And then, are we missing number 3, or am I missing something on the?
It appears the numbering has got a little bit of an issue, so
Okay.
I will look into what's happened there, but I think you can just keep moving through the work plan.
Okay. All right. We'll ignore the numbers then. Okay. Number 4 is accomplished. So we'll move on to number 5. Assist with the promotion of city arts and culture events. Is this a place to talk about the parade? Or commissioners' reports is a better spot? I don't know. It's not.
Commissioner's report would be the appropriate place.
Okay, makes sense. Did anyone else have any thoughts or comments on number 5? Are we good on that? If not, thank you for scrolling up. We'll move on to number 6, support the public art policy. We've got a lot of different things going on here. So and again, I don't have anything to add for my part of it, but if anyone has any updates, feel free to chime in.
I have an update on the sculpture pad.
Great.
On November, the jury panel met to review all of the submissions for the sculpture loan program. And these are the sculptures that they selected for advancing to public comment. And then that public comment will come back to the commission, and the commission will make a recommendation to City Council for their approval of the final selections. The Encinitas Boulevard location, which is at the corner, the entrance to Oakcrest Park, these are the 3 pieces that are being put forward. And there, you'll notice that some sculptures were put for consideration in more than one location. Site B is in Cardiff, on Newcastle, across the street from the library. Site C is on the backside of Sun Vista Park, where Avenida La Posta crosses over Rancho Santa Fe Road. There are 3 sculptures for consideration at that site. Site D is in a skate park in Leucadia. And the sculpture site is immediately adjacent to where the skate feature is. And then Site E is at the entrance to Little Oaks Equestrian Park in Alevenhain. You drive in, there's a little median in the middle, and that's where that is. And just a quick review, I'll just show you the sites. So this is the one on Encinitas Boulevard. They all have a similar pedestal. Just to get a sense of where they are. This is Cardiff, and that's the library right there. So you can see it's across the street from the library. This one here is Encinitas Boulevard. There are 5. So this is Encinitas Boulevard, and this is the entrance to Oakcrest Park. That's okay. Got it. Okay, and then this is Cardiff. And this is the backside of Sun Vista Park. So here comes Avenida La Posta. And the pedestal is located here. Got a couple of views so you can see the angles. High visibility. And then in Leucadia, this is an overhead of the park. This is the skate feature, and then this is the pedestal location. And so here you can see this is the skate park, and this is where the pedestal is for the sculpture. And then in Olevenhain, again, an overhead of where it is, and here are a couple of pictures to show. This is when the pedestal was under construction. This fencing isn't there anymore. And this is before it was put in, it goes right in here. So it's not, this is the entry, and you come out. So this public input survey will be ready by the end of this week and be up through about mid-January. And if everything goes well, the commission will be reviewing it at their February meeting to then make a recommendation to council.
So again, there'll be an online link as with past
Correct.
surveys. Okay.
Yes. And we'll be promoting it, and
Right.
and then I'll send you all the link and hope that you will also share it so that people have an opportunity to make their opinions known. Mm-hmm.
And it'll come before the commission with the full results of the survey, and at that point, we'll...
The public comment will come to the commission,
Okay.
and you'll use that information along with the jurors' recommendations to make
Yeah.
your recommendation to city council.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Doom Scroll is a good name for a sculpture.
Are we?
No, but it's really for public comment.
Unfortunately not.
Unless you, yeah, that's, I don't make the rules. I don't know.
You'd have to put in can we still put in a speaker slip, Jamie?
You have to put that in before the oral communications.
So I'll just share that on the website, where the survey link is, will be pictures of the sculptures being considered, as well as the pedestal locations. And then on the survey, it will also have the pictures of the artworks so that you'll see, the public can see what is being evaluated.
How do we? So when the surveys are sent out, how do we, if we forward it, how do we know that the people that are taking the survey are local?
It will request a zip code, and then that will
Right.
allow us to determine what percentage are Encinitas residents versus outside opinions.
So, so we're relying on people. So it's not like an auto-generate zip code.
No,
code.
we
So
ask,
somebody's actually filling.
we ask the respondents to let us know their residential zip code.
Okay. All right.
And is there information about the materials used and the sizes of the pieces? Is that available?
It is available. It was not planned to be included. If you feel that that would be important, we can include that.
Yeah, I think that would be important.
Sure.
Because you can't really tell from an image, well, with these, because they're all in someplace, it's better. But like the orange one here, it is difficult to tell how big that is.
Sure, we can include the media and the dimensions.
Thank you. That would be very helpful.
Colette, I have a question forwarded by Commissioner Fox, who's attending virtually, and she was asking why only one option for Leucadia Oaks, mentioning that there's a playground as well as a skate park.
Commissioner Abraham was part of the jury. She might be able to share the jury's
Okay.
thinking and process, and Commissioner Campbell as well. They were both part of the panel.
Yeah, well, actually, our initial goal was really to pick one per site. So that was the only one where we succeeded. The others, we felt there were more than one that were appropriate. And this is the one that we thought was most appropriate of all the selections for considering the site and the usage of that park by young people, we thought was most appropriate. And there were on the jurors, Vicki, you were on it.
Yes.
And also we had representatives from each of the communities of Encinitas. So they could specifically speak to their area and what was appropriate.
I'd like to add that a lot of the sculptures were ineligible for certain locations when it came to the jury. So Leucadia Park was one of the locations that had the least number of eligible statues or sculptures, arts. And some of them just didn't feel appropriate for a skate park location. In terms of visibility, size, we spent over exactly the 2 full hours discussing very carefully, and that was the park that I think we actually wanted to give the public another option, but we couldn't place another sculpture into the list of recommended. And there were just various reasons, and I don't remember exactly which reasons, but, you know, maybe the durability or the safety or, you know, just other opportunities that didn't exist for that sculpture. I believe that the sculptures themselves were submitted by the artist and that the artist was able to exclude locations as well. Is that true?
That is true. The artists, when they submitted their work for consideration, they listed the sites that they wanted the sculpture considered for. So if they did not list a location, then it was not eligible for that location.
Okay, thank you both for your input on that. I appreciate that.
I realize it doesn't really count, but I live in Leucadia, and I think that's a terrific selection. Thank you for doing such a good job. I like all of them.
Right. Okay, thank you for that presentation. We will go to number 7, assist with Art Night Encinitas pre-event planning, I think, and volunteering at the event. Can you remind me of the date for the next Art Night?
I believe it is the 9th. And Jess has been working on, you want to share about what's coming up?
It is March 9 for the next art night, and because it's so close to Independent Women's Day, we decided to celebrate as many female artists, musicians and entertainers, performers as we could for the next art night. And we've had really great feedback from the arts community, and I know a lot of great people will be interested in supporting that. So if you have any suggestions for wonderful female musicians, artists, performers, poets, send them my way.
Great. It's a great idea.
And you also had planned ahead beyond that too. Is that something you can share as well, or?
Yep. The next one lands on International Camera Day, so we thought we'd take the opportunity to celebrate film and photograph. And the one after that will be the Art Mart, and probably the largest celebration past that.
Right.
Did you say that, the one in November of next year is going to be a vet celebration?
We're hoping to celebrate some veteran artists for sure, as it's the week that celebrates veterans, Veteran Day. We have that day as a holiday, so we're hoping to include for sure some veteran artists and hopefully open that up to make it more of a broader celebration of artists with disabilities or mental health issues. So we'd like to try and open it up to celebrate a broader spectrum of the community.
And you had mentioned also about looking out for sponsors as well. So send them your way. And
Yes, please.
Can I make a suggestion of like, for the next ones? If there's a way to have more of the youth involved in some way. I've noticed I went to the most recent art night, and they're always fantastic, every one of them. Just seeing a lot of people around my age. So it would be great to have more of the young people involved in some way. I know, like around Veterans Day, the area schools they spend time. At least in my school, we honor the vets, and so this would be a great way to extend it to to the community level. And some also the digital, the camera day. Now that's going to be in the summer when school's going to be out. But I don't know if there's some way to make a connection with some of the schools before they get out and disappear for the summer, and get them involved in that.
We can certainly try and make those connections. We have specifically focused on youth and prior art nights, and have not found the sweet spot in how that age group likes to connect. They have participated in a band showcase, and it's been very much a slide in, perform, and leave. It did not offer the connection and the draw to that audience that we had hoped for.
I think that if there was more of a direct involvement, like right on the spot, for youth and students, if they feel that they are like part of the creation, maybe like right there on the spot, like for example, the digital, the camera production, more like some hands-on opportunities, that might bring some people out. If they're just looking around, it might be a little boring for young people. But if there's something for them to do right there, I don't know, just something lots of time to think about it. But
We certainly can. And just to clarify, the showcase was the youth performing, so very much hands-on. They were the focus.
which one are you talking about?
It was last year. I apologize. The dates kind of run together. When we had done it a couple of years in a row, just we wanted to really, give it a shot. We did it once, then we did it again. And it just did not, they came and participated, but it just didn't have the same connection that we had hoped for. We had hoped that it would draw more of that age group in and give them the opportunity to curate this experience for their peers. So the kids were very hands-on in performing. And
are you talking about a digital? Because I did hear about something about that. There was a previous art night that would involve like a theatrical or something. It was before I was on.
We've had kids perform in chorus. So I just wanted to share that we have some of the connections that we've had with youth and can continue to try and engage that demographic. We have also reached out and tried to connect with them to curate their own exhibitions, to participate in exhibitions. And again, we're not quite sure where its appeal is not connecting in the way that we had hoped.
Yeah, I understand. It'll take time, I'm sure, and repetition and frequency, and just keep have the invitation out there, and we'll see what happens. Thanks.
I think it helps to have one of the instructors or someone from the school be the one to carry on the continuity, because the kids don't do that. They don't necessarily do that.
I know SDA, my twins go to SDA, so I know they have clubs, and I was told LCC also has clubs, and I know this for SDA because both my daughters are in the photography club. So if there are flyers, they could be given out to these clubs. And these clubs are really talented, these kids, I mean. And because of social media, they're posting it, their work everywhere. So if there's a flyer that we can just give to the president of the club, which is usually a senior or a junior, it could work that way. And there's a club committee, so every high school has a club committee, and then maybe that's how we could reach. I could begin with just putting a flyer out to the SDA club because I have direct access to them. So if you could forward that to me, I will get that going. Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's great. Great suggestion. Thank you for volunteering to do that.
I have an idea, actually, that popped in my mind. There's the youth commission. And what would be the prospects of having a joint or some kind of inter-commission connection with the youth commission to talk with them and see what they could do? I don't know.
The Youth Commission has their own work plan, so there's not a direct connection. We have and can, again, go and make a special presentation and see if there is any interest in one of the commissioners. We've had individual commissioners come and participate at Art Night. Most recently, when we did do the youth band showcase. But the commissions, we don't necessarily partner with because we each commission has their own work plan.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Anybody else on that topic, on Art Night, volunteering, and all that good stuff? Okay. Thanks for the input, everybody. So we'll move on to number 8, serve on the visual art selection panel for art exhibitions in the civic spaces. We talked a little bit about this, but anybody have any further thoughts?
I can share a quick update.
Okay.
So we are working on finalizing which of the juried artists are going to be in which spaces. Still need to make a couple of last-minute decisions and getting some information confirmed with some of the artists about availability. So we hope to have that released soon. This year's taken a little longer than originally anticipated.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anybody on that ad hoc have any further thoughts, or nothing you need to? Okay, great, thank you. So number 9, support existing city performing arts programs and research feasibility of new offerings. The youth piano competition, we were able to promote that at the parade a little bit, but I don't know if quickly, Jennifer, you have additional updates. I know the entry period is live, right, until March 24th? Or
27th.
Okay.
March 27th. Along the lines about the advertising that was earlier spoken about, that will probably be needed for in the future. Currently, I've done a lot of promoting, I guess, other than Saturday running down Encinitas, I mean 101, but I think the next steps is to keep it going, keep the project alive, and because there's many steps involved. So I'm thinking of contact, such as paying attention to the requirements for the video submission, and then as we get closer to that, then more directions about how to submit. There might be some confusion, so it would be good to provide that clarity if that were to come to pass. And that will take us until March, and then we'll just see what happens. So, I mean, I was curious to find out if you've found any kind of emails or calls or unique calls and emails inquiring about it. I mean,
nothing
so far,
unique or out of the ordinary. Just a handful of clarifying inquiries, but not a lot and nothing troubling.
Yeah, great. I think so. This is a learning process, and we're all learning about it. So we'll find out, how this pans out at the end of the year, and we can create maybe an FAQ or something like that for the next time around. But as far as other things for ad hoc number 9, I have some more ideas, but I'm waiting till Nutcracker's over to share. What did she say?
I think it was just a technological glitch.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. Thank you. I think we're done with that that agenda item.
I just wanted to share about Nutcracker.
Oh, please.
So Nutcracker is coming up on December 16th. This year is different than last year, a little bit more dynamic, more exciting. It is in the gym, which gives us the opportunity to have it on 2 levels. Encinitas Ballet is re-choreographing things so that there is an upper stage and a lower stage. We have an increased capacity, which is nice. Last year, the evening sold out and the afternoon almost sold out. So this year, more people will be able to participate. And tickets are for sale now. There are 2 performances again this year, one at 1 o'clock and one at 5 o'clock.
Fantastic. That sounds like a great event. Thank you for that. So that is number 9. We're moving on to number 10. We accomplished that, the mission and vision statement, so I think we can move on from there. Advise on branding. I think we don't have anything new to add on that.
No, that, if you recall, was an item that had been added to the work plan, and then staff was given direction. Actually, not something that was going to have any unique look to it.
Right. Okay.
We're going to follow city branding.
Okay. Got it. And then number 12, color palette, was finished a while ago. 13, review and advise on programming model. And I know that the ongoing effort is to find instructors or encourage instructors to apply to teach classes there. I don't know, did you want to add anything about that in this meeting, or is that?
Do you want to, we can talk about that when we get to 15. Do you want to see if there's anything about the artist residency, and then I can share a little bit more information about the instructor?
Yeah. Does anyone have?
For 14? Or what are we on?
We're on 13 still.
I
But
think we're on 14
now.
I
We'll go to
think.
14. That's what you were
14?
saying. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Okay.
You went ahead of me.
So along the lines of artist residency, and then, so I have a meeting coming up this Wednesday with the director of the innovation, a colleague with Chula Vista Elementary School District, who will discuss, he will give me, as a colleague, because we're colleagues, I'll give him an idea of what we're looking at, and it'll give him an idea of what to create to share more with the ad hoc. So again, to clarify what this is about, this is a model that Chula Vista has, where they've worked with the city of Chula Vista, and they've been able to create some learning labs, if you will. They call them learning stations. And one that they just unveiled this past year, is called a sound station with broadcasts. And it's what they do is they work with the 6th grade, of all the 6th graders in Chula Vista get an opportunity to come to the learning station, and they investigate different careers in the arts. And there's also a lot of partnerships involved and professionals. So the students are taught for a one-day adventure. They learn about these things. So he's going to share with that on Wednesday, and then we'll go from there. So that's where we're at.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else along those lines? Okay. Okay, great. So we will move on to number 15, the proper place to talk about the instructors. And Colette, do you want to share? I can talk about what's been discussed, but
Sure. The most exciting part is that we have a new application policy. So you can see here, if you go to the city's website, /instructor, here is where information, just general information about the opportunities is on this page. So you can scroll through. You can review what's in the current activity guide, what's in current class offerings to see what's already being offered. Here's a rough idea of the schedule, how it works. And now if you want to submit an arts program, which is our area, it comes over here. And then it is a really simple document. I'd have to put in all the information to be able to advance it, but the first page is information about the potential instructor. The second one is really simple information about the program itself. And then the third page is references. So the process is very simple. And as you are thinking about potential programming, potential contract instructors, this is where you want to guide them and have them go here and fill it out and submit it to us for consideration. So incredibly easier than it ever has been. So if you're speaking to teaching artists or people in the community who maybe have tried to do this in the past and are feeling like it's too difficult, make sure you let them know that the process has been simplified and made so much more inviting and easy.
Is this for all disciplines?
All arts disciplines?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And on the program page, they can select which area it is, give a quick overview of what the program is. And then if you know of anyone who's interested in offering anything for recreation, on that other page, you can click the button and they could submit something for recreation as well. I'm just focusing on arts because that's what we do.
thanks. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to add that I think you want to have it open to all opportunity for arts that aren't even on the list necessarily. If people have ideas that are not on there, we certainly want to look at that.
Exactly. Any proposal can be submitted, and if it fits within permissible uses and relates to what the public expressed an interest in, and it's something we can accommodate at one of the city sites, then it'll be considered.
I was part of a meeting where this was discussed, and I was struck by kind of the sheer volume of need. I know it was talked about that there are 700 to 800 programs a year, right?
Potentially, yes.
Okay, on a 4-day-week schedule. So that's a lot of instructors, a lot of class time. So definitely a need out there. So we were encouraged to use our connections and contact people, share widely, try to find good matches of, teaching artists to subjects and encourage them to find a class that will hopefully appeal to people who want to be a part of what's going on there. But yeah, please go ahead, Jennifer.
Sorry. So I was wondering if this model of instructor selection, will this be for the next year and into the year when Pacific View Arts Center is open and the 1 year plan?
They're accepted on a rolling basis, and depending upon what day of the week, time of day, how many people are going to be within the program, it will potentially be at Pacific View. It could potentially be offered at the community center or at the library. And as we continue to recruit and grow the arts programming, that will, yes, lead into when Pacific View opens in 2024. And we are very mindful of that and are working on filling that.
I think, Commissioner, I think you're asking if this is the process that we're going to use for Pacific View. The short answer is yes.
For the next year, the 1 year that would, I guess, what do you want to call it, trial or beginning entry programming.
So
Yes, the initial year as and potentially future years as long as this process is in place.
Okay, so I have a question about, so if you plan to use this, then how would that work out with when it gets to a point, maybe in a couple years from now, where there might be external organizations involved? How would that be worked out so that you don't have maybe a double process? You know, for example, if there's an external group that's providing or doing their thing, and then there's this. So how would that work out?
I'm not quite sure. So
the plan right now is the city is running and operating the center. And as long as that is the case, this process will be in place. If there's ever any interest or consideration by the council to partner with an external organization to operate and manage Pacific View, if that's the question, then we would reconsider the process and augment the process based on that plan. But that hasn't been discussed yet. So at this time, the plan is for the city to operate and manage Pacific View, and therefore this process will be in place and be implemented to select contract instructors.
and because we have arts programming at sites in addition to Pacific View. So currently there is arts programming being offered at the community center and could potentially be offered at the library. This is still the contract instructor process, and recreation uses the same process to receive programming proposals for theirs as well.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Just to reiterate, because this is something I'm not sure I was completely clear on before, but this is not just about hiring instructors and having looking at someone and saying, oh yeah, you have a great track record, we'll find a class for you. It's really more about the individual people coming in with an idea, right? Am I overstating that, or is that?
No,
okay?
We are really looking for instructors to share what they're passionate about teaching and making those proposals for what they are interested in sharing.
Okay. And that's part and parcel of the application process, right?
Correct.
They're asked to, I see here the wording is asking about an arts program you're interested in offering. So, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's helpful just in terms of approaching people we know, and making sure they know that it's something where they need to have something in mind to offer. So
And
I don't know if that's stating the obvious, but
Sure. And if they have questions about things like permissibility, or they need a little guidance about where they could find information, we can tell them where to look and find a little bit more information about maybe what's already being offered in the community. So we don't want people to be discouraged. We want people to feel welcome and encouraged to apply. So if there is a challenge, then the artist should reach out to the arts division, and we're happy to help them in whatever way we can.
okay, great. I don't know if this came up. Is there a specific, I know we have the ballpark numbers on how many programs, but does that correlate with, or is there a ballpark number for the number of instructors? I mean, I guess it depends on whether one teaches 5 classes or something like that, but
Correct. Some
Yeah.
may only be interested in teaching a single program. Some may be really excited about offering a variety. So the number of instructors could really vary depending upon how that interest is.
okay. Yeah. Well, I think efforts are already starting. I saw an email today about specific names being put up for, bringing people aboard. And I think we'll hopefully all be a part of that process and get actively involved in using our connections to bring people aboard. So
And it's a rolling process. It's an ongoing recruitment for these instructors to apply. The activity guide goes out 3 times a year, and that is one of the ways that we promote programming. So it's always ideal to get it in to that guide. When Pacific View opens, obviously we're going to make sure to let the community know that the center is open and programming is being offered. But just knowing there are deadlines, but it is always, it's ongoing.
Right.
So an
There's-
instructor shouldn't feel like they shouldn't feel discouraged from applying.
okay, there's no cutoff or.
I mean,
anything
at
like
some
that.
point there has to be a cutoff because someone's got to be able to register for it.
Right.
But it's not
For a specific session. But
exactly.
Yeah.
There's some
okay.
latitude in there.
Okay.
We just want to
That's good
make
to
sure
know.
we can take advantage of as many marketing opportunities as possible.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And
Yeah,
any other
One
thoughts?
more thing. I was just wondering, what if you could describe maybe how the process might be of selecting? Would you be able to describe that at this point? For example, if there were multiple people who applicants who wanted to do watercolor and the same medium, is there a way? What is the process like? You might be able to share.
Sure. If it is the same class, for example, let's say we get 2 applications and one is to teach adults and one is to teach children, that's different. But let's say we get 5 and it's all basic watercolor for adults and really feels like it's the same class, then it's going to come back to the commission and there will be a rubric and you will make recommendations to staff for which one would be selected. But if they're unique, then we'll see how it fits within a schedule and make those available to the public.
Okay. I appreciate all that information. And unless there are further comments, we can move on to number 16, which is going to be happening in February, right? And we will also be working on our proposed goals for next year. So,
Yep. So you can start giving some thought to that, to number 17, thinking about future work plan goals for those of you who are continuing on. And that'll be a conversation that we start at the January meeting.
yeah, that's soon. That's like next month.
It's really soon.
Good
I was
to
wondering,
remember.
can you clarify number 16? The presentations or something?
So every year we present to council what has been accomplished, and we will review that in January as well. We'll really take stock within each of these and confirm. So some of the outcomes have been noted as we've been moving along, and we'll go through and really make sure we have captured what the commission has accomplished so that we can note that and share it with council.
And is this meeting going to be different than the meeting that's supposed to transpire in the spring about the next steps with the Pacific View or something? Or is that?
We present prior year's outcomes at the same time that you are presenting the future work plan. So for the fiscal year 24-25 work plan, that goes to council for their approval. And at the same time, we share outcomes from the prior year's work plan. So it all goes at the same time, which is different from a budget item that would go before council, which I think is what you're asking me about.
And is there anything in preparation to provide in February from the commission's part? Any kind of like PowerPoints we need to deliver to you or something like that? Or
Is there a specific area? There's nothing I can think of that I would need.
wondering of the expectations,
No.
homework.
No, well, no. So your homework would be to really give thought to make sure that we are documenting all of the outcomes, all of the hard work that the commission has done in this year, and then start to think about what items either that are existing on this year's work plan that you want to carry forward, or consider other possibilities that might go on to next year's work plan, keeping in mind they must be things that you can realistically accomplish within your fiscal year. So just keep that in mind as you're suggesting things.
That was a good question about homework, and it makes me wonder, I was here last year for this process, but was not the chair, and so I'm trying to remember, will we have a chance to kind of review what is being presented to council at the January meeting in terms of what the outcomes are?
Yes, you will
Okay.
actually vote on it as a commission
Okay,
for
right.
what you approve to be recommended to council as your work plan,
Right.
and then they will approve your work plan.
Okay, I thought that's what you were saying, but
Mhm.
okay, great, thank you.
And remember that the commission, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to share a little bit about the commission recruitment in the Cultural Arts Division updates. So it changes with your March meeting. So it's really the new commission that will vote on what that year work plan would be that you're going to present to council for their approval.
Right, okay.
So you'll work on suggestions and outcomes in January and February, March if you need it, and then it will go to council for their approval no later than April.
Okay, great, thank you.
When are the deadlines for the vacancies for all the commissions? Is there?
We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Okay, sure.
Okay, I think is that the end? I think that's the end of the work plan, that agenda item. So thank you again, everybody. We will move on to Pacific View Arts Center and receive the latest report on that.
Construction is rolling along, and exterior paint has been added in addition to interior paint, the rain gutters. This right here shows the awnings down on the ground, and then here getting installed. Part of my team was over, I think 2 members of my team were over at the site today, and the numbers have been added onto the exterior. This right here is the ADA path that comes from the north side off of E Street that will come and connect in. Here's a retaining wall that's being added to support. So these 3 are all part of how that ADA path comes in from that side. Another shot of the lovely color that you all chose. And here's a look at the inside white walls. And we spoke about the contract instructor recruitment. And many of you know about November 15th, we presented quite a bit of information to City Council, including the results of the survey and the mission and vision statements. Council approved the recommended mission and vision statements and moved that they will evaluate programming in a year. So we've got a year that we're going to operate in that model and then go back to them. The programming committee met last Friday, and we had a long conversation about recruiting teaching artists, and some of the things that were discussed were a desire for dynamic and innovative narrative to use in the recruitment, There were some concerns raised that if there is not branding or language to set it apart from quote unquote just another art center, it might not be successful. And there were some concerns that included a concern about the limited schedule and the existing program registration software. And as it relates to fundraising, we are continuing to be interested in finding funding sources. It may be easier in some of those cases to fund for something once it's up and running. You know, it's always easier to fund for a thing. There have been some grants sent my way that are coming up, and we'll take a look and see if those are things that we might qualify for, and see what we might be able to do.
One thing that I realized is it could be Pacific View Art Center or Pacific View Arts, ARTS.
City Council, in the minutes, it is arts with an S.
Because when you say it fast, Pacific View Arts Center, you know, it's like the C.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good clarity to have that S there and plural.
So going forward, that is the case, because that question came up, and I think in a lot of our documentation, even here, it says Arts Center. I just want to make sure we're using the correct.
Right, and so I guess it would have been in either late 21 or early 22. I apologize for not having the exact date. The initial, when the plans were approved, it was Pacific View Art Center. And then there was a motion that referred to it as being a cultural arts center. And then on November 15th, that was clarified, and it became Arts Plural Center. So that's where we are, is Pacific View Arts with an S Center.
Okay. Everybody is on board and knows that. Everybody who's doing the signage and everything, I hope.
Signage is being amended.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, you brought up the meeting where the branding was discussed. I don't know if I might just expound on that for a minute for those who weren't there, if that's okay.
Sure.
One of the members, Patricia, talked about her feeling that there needed to be something more to sort of define what this center is about. She came up with a suggestion of kind of doing seasons of Pacific View Arts Center, and not necessarily literally seasons, but doing 4 different kind of broad themes like innovation, sustainability, celebration, and inclusion. I thought it was actually a good idea to sort of be able to pin sort of pin the messaging on to something that could get people a little more fired up. I guess I was a little unclear on when we're talking about branding, who would be doing that branding? Are we talking about us as individuals kind of sort of reaching out to, or in our role as people who are getting the message out about this center opening? I mean, is it on that level? Because the city branding is a whole different thing. So
in terms of so the seasons isn't we also talked in that meeting about wanting to be very inclusive and very encouraging and not limiting and discouraging. So those looking at those as themes across any year, any time of year,
right,
for those kinds of programming options. That was a welcomed suggestion. And then in terms of the branding and the narrative, there are suggestions that it be very unique and innovative and different. And there is concern perhaps that the basic kinds of classes are not exciting enough. And we have received public input that the public is interested in learning something new and developing proficiency. So there's going to be a balance. We need to remember that the public is who is taking the classes. So we want to give them a lot of choices. We want to give them things that they're interested in taking. And so some of that narrative needs to help encourage instructors so that they know what's possible. And then also, once programming is available, in communicating to the public so that they know what they can take.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my feeling, I'm sure probably pretty much everyone shares this, but, things like inclusion, accessibility, sustainability ought to be kind of part and parcel of what this center does. But I guess it's a question of, how do we make that clear enough to people that's,
Well, Well, I think that there was a concern about, and the word broadness came up, and typically in like K-12 arts education, it's the 5 core arts, which are music, dance, theater, visual art, and media art, and then there's a zillion things underneath each one of them. And I think that to help ease that, the word broaden, I think it would help when the time comes to revamp the master plan, because then that will add more. That will be like it's kind of compared to a curriculum. It's something that is that everything springs off of, and that will help define it so that we're not like scratching our heads all the time. Is this art? Am I doing this right? Is my art going to be acceptable? And is it? So I think that once we get to that point, that will help to define that, so we feel more comfortable in having, accessibility, inclusion, diversity, and that has to be really, really clear.
Yeah, I agree. And presumably this is something we'll be able to revisit as we get closer to the opening and maybe discuss as something that we could work into our work plan in terms of our role in getting the message out in a way that's...
Well, so it's already in your work plan in terms of recruitment and sharing with potential instructors. So
Sure.
in having conversations with instructors talking about these kinds of themes, about accessibility and inclusion and diversity,
Right.
to share that these are the kinds of interesting programs. Is this something that they are interested in developing a program around one of those themes and putting those forward as a suggestion?
Right. I guess I'm just thinking of kind of potentially more specific language that we could tweak in the work plan to make sure that, we're all focused on promoting those ideals. So,
Am I allowed to mention the master plan or not?
I'm not, I don't know if that's for...
That's not part of this particular agenda item.
Okay. I get it. But I know what you're saying, that there needs to be some kind of more of an introduction about the various programs that are offered in the city, and somehow if that could be in writing, it'll be like a great reference point. But when we get to that.
Yeah. Yeah, and as I say, we do have a little bit of a run-up still until the opening. I know it's going to be here sooner than we think, but hopefully we'll have a chance to refine our messaging a little bit, I guess is what I'm interested in making sure of. So
Right, and in the place that you are right now, you have so much opportunity to reach out to artists, and as you're having those conversations and encouraging them to apply, that's your opportunity to share, to encourage them to be innovative and unique and touch on programming connected to these different themes and other themes that are relevant to our community and the public interest.
Yeah.
I think maybe one of the issues is not necessarily the teachers, but getting the public informed and excited. So this would require, some documents sent out to the public, or maybe included in the catalog, the recreation catalog, to promote Pacific View.
And we do have,
Specifically.
in the current one, we do have a link coming back here and, getting that started.
Right, and, so some of the ideas that Patricia Fisher expressed, could be incorporated.
Some of them could be. Mm-hmm.
Who was Patricia? I'm sorry.
She was at the programming meeting. She's part of the San Diego Visual Arts Network.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for adding that. Anybody else on this before we move on to the next informational item? I know we have more from you, Colette. Okay, I think we can move on to the commission calendar. Right?
All right. All right, so as part of the Cultural Arts Division updates, I wanted to share that the clerk is recruiting, putting out the notice for commission vacancies, and here's Commission for the Arts. So 2 of our commissioners will be terming out after the February meeting. And Commissioner Fox was appointed for a partial term. So there will be 3 positions available. There are 2 deadlines. So the incumbents wishing to reapply, which could be Commissioner Fox if she's interested, is January 18th, 2024. And new applicants, their deadline is January 25th, 2024, both of those by 5:00 p.m. So if you know of people in the arts community who are interested in serving a 3-year term on the commission, you can certainly share your experiences and be able to answer their questions and guide them here. So I was just going to say it's on this page, and you can just go to the city site, and in the main search bar, you can just type what you want to do, and you'll be able to get here. And then it's a simple apply, and they fill out their information. This goes to the clerk, and they are appointed by council.
Thank you. And, sorry, that's part of the Arts Division report, right?
It
I
is.
moved on a little abruptly there.
That's
so.
okay. And then I also wanted to give you a quick update on the Arts Master Plan. It is going to be put in the next fiscal year request that we have budget to look into having a consultant develop an Arts Master Plan. So we won't know about that until we get there. So that's the update as it relates to that. North Coast Rep was a future agenda item. We're going to need to push that a little further out. I still don't have all of the information that you have requested. And I wanted to share a reminder that City Hall is closed December 22nd through January 1st, and we will be returning on January 2nd. Because January 1st is the first Monday of the year, and that is a holiday, a reminder that your meeting will actually be on January 8th, which is the following Monday.
What is the master plan that the consultant would be hired for? What does that entail?
To develop an arts master plan.
What does that mean?
So that can be a number of things. The last one was developed for Encinitas in 2002. So it's been a while. The commission in 2017, 16, 17, 18, 19 did a fair amount of work on revamping sections of it and in trying to do it on their own. And there's a lot of working parts to it, and there are consultants who have a tremendous amount of experience and can take that on, and it's a lot easier. So we're looking at taking that path. When you have an arts master plan, it then becomes the framework and helps guide what's happening, what things are going to be done across a number of areas: visual art, performing art, public art, perhaps looking into the feasibility of a percent for art and what those models might be to recommend for funding. Those are all different options that can be considered.
And the consultant works with the commission? How does that? How does-
They would work primarily with the city and would also work with the commission in taking input, but would primarily work with staff.
I see. Thank you.
Now, I was wondering, I looked over the 2002 edition, and they did a fantastic job back then. They kind of left their footprints, and they also created a blueprint. Now, when that process comes to do that, would we, as the commission and the staff, be involved in that same kind of thing? Would we have to start from scratch, like
So
zero, or start over or something?
Sure. So at this point, it's a little premature. I can just speak in general terms, and I just also want to clarify, in addition to working with staff and the commission, they would also gather public input. So we're very premature in a lot of the details of it. And that is the
I was part of the group that looked into doing that, and looking through the master plan, so much of what was anticipated and suggested had been accomplished. So it just was more than could be rewritten or updated. It has to be completely rewritten.
And as a point
it has
of
to take into all new state laws and ordinances, and but looking now that we'll have Pacific View, that wasn't even on the radar when they wrote it.
Excuse me, just point of order, just because it's not agendized, I just am sharing information that once we get to that point and we have, if we are able to engage a consultant, then you can have more robust discussion about those kinds of things.
But you definitely will be involved with the Arts Commission. This is the Arts Master Plan.
Okay.
That's one last thing on that. It is still posted on the website. You can still access it. It's still accessible, correct?
It's my understanding, yes, the
Okay.
one from 2002.
Okay.
And if you have a difficult time finding it, just let me know. I'm happy to send you a link. And that was the conclusion of the division report.
Okay, thank you. Now we may move on to the commission calendar.
Yes. The Wednesday concerts are continuing. There is no concert during our closure. Staff is gone that week between December 22nd and January 1, so there is no concert at the library on December 27th. Music by the Sea is continuing. We had a concert last Friday, and then the January concert is on the 26th. I shared about Nutcracker coming up at the community center, 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Get your tickets. And that is the conclusion of what's coming up in December.
Do you have any information you can share about this summer for the classical concert?
Not right now. It's not part of this. I don't. We could potentially have discussed that during the work plan.
Okay. All right. So that is number 9. Number 10, commission member initiated agenda items. I don't believe we have any this time around. Future agenda items, I don't believe we have any of those this time either. Correct me if I'm wrong. So last item, commissioners' reports. I'll just jump in to, first of all, mention Commissioner Marakovitz in the most amazing outfit during the parade, festooned with musical staffs and I think musical note makeup, and I thought that we had a nice presence there. We had banners, decorations. I was mentioning earlier that there was a picture in one of the media outlets of our float, and it identified it as the Pacific View Arts Center entry because we had this huge Pacific View Arts Center banner on the side. And I mean, not a bad thing that if that's what people come away from, because it's less of an abstract thing than the Arts Commission is, and had the opening date and everything. But yeah, it was fun, and I think we got a good response. And I'm sure you had your own observations, but
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Miss Katie, hope she's feeling better.
yeah.
And yes, that was a wonderful evening. And I wanted to also say that about the concert. We attended the concert on Friday with the violinists and the pianists were phenomenal. Everyone was jumping out of their seat at the very end. I've never heard a violin make like bird calls. That was just amazing what he did. And I was telling my string students about that, and they were trying to do that.
Yeah, so...
we had 4 or 5, I can't remember counting how many times they... Encores.
That's great.
Who else was there?
It was
4
like,
or 5?
I thought it was, I thought they had 2, at least 2.
Oh, maybe it was 3. Anyway, it was...
I thought they were going to keep
it
going.
was- yeah, I was beginning to wonder if we were going to get any dinner. But it was really an incredible performance. And everyone, and the room was full. It looked to me like the room was completely full.
I just wanted to pivot back to the parade for a minute to give a public shout out to John Baylog, who's actually sheriff's deputy. So some of you may have, he's I believe, a resource officer and great guy who lives right up the hill here. He was the one who provided his 1946 Woody to serve as our conveyance in the parade, and encountered massive traffic and kept his cool and drove us through the parade. And it was definitely a cool vehicle and very fitting with the traditions of Encinitas theme of the parade. So much appreciation and to
Yeah,
everybody
shout
who
out to
helped.
him.
Yeah,
That was wonderful.
yeah. So it was fun. Anybody else reports from meetings or things that you've been involved in or working on, or just want to give an opportunity to if anybody has any more input, last chance until January. Okay. Well, great. Thank you for all of this. I think this has been really productive, and thanks again to our speakers. And I guess with that, we will adjourn at 6:38. There we go. Make it official. There we go.